live, brother.
Yeah, we're live. I'm going to make sure, first and foremost, I'm going to make sure that my microphone is on, which it is.
And then share it on on, on all our favorite platforms,
Yeah.
favorite horror faces.
Favorite hell sites. Alright. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, Bobby, I have a hard cutoff at 8 a.m. because, unfortunately, American economic life has me working on the Sabbath, which is actually, I thought it was Saturday until my reverend corrected me recently. It is actually Sunday. Or not Sunday, no, not, hold on, sorry. I thought it was Sunday until my reverend corrected me recently. And, but it's Saturday. Saturday is the Sabbath, and one of the Ten Commandments, which is the law of God, is to honor the Sabbath. You know? So...
Yeah, it was like the Catholic Church that did the whole we need to appease the pagans. But really, I
Well,
don't think it was like appease the pagans. It was just people who came over from different parts of Europe that had a different Christianity and celebrated the Sabbath in different days. They were told that, yeah, let's do it that way. Maybe it was more useful. Maybe it was more convenient. Who knows? Like, but I mean, what happens in the end? Like, is Sunday or Sabbath? I guess like for me, the is Sabbath or Sunday more practical
well,
than each other, right?
well. The thing is, though, is that how he explained it. It wasn't that. What is it? It wasn't that. It wasn't that the Christians wanted to change it. It was that the Messianic Jews and the Pharisees ran them out of the temple, and so they couldn't, you know, do worship on Saturdays anymore. So they decided to worship Christ on the first day of his resurrection, or on the day he was first resurrected, which was Sunday. And so that way we get a 2-day weekend. Although sometimes it feels more like a 2-hour weekend. But anyway, Bobby,
Something good, you know.
we're gonna keep going with Sir Brante. Still in peacetime. We're getting close to the revolt, though. We're getting close to finishing this game, Bobby.
Yeah. The plans after that, we have so much. We're going to discuss it together.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was surprised. I watched the new Rad Lib, and I was surprised that he said that he studied Russian. He can read Russian. Like that's very surprising.
I didn't know
Uh,
that.
yeah, you didn't know that. I mean, you know Radlib person. He was like, oh yeah, next time it's gonna be, oh yeah, I work for for Wagner, or something like that.
No, I doubt that. I doubt a man of his. I really doubt a man of his stature would. But
I was like, man, like, man, how come he knows how to read Russian? How come he like has studied Russian? It's weird in America, right? I mean, I can understand like Italy, but yeah, whatever. It was a cool stream he did. It's called Against the Empire. Uh, it's fun,
alrighty. Well, Bobby,
but
we've got the event A Banner Year here because of our profitable business. You enter the print shop in the morning and sit down at your desk to go over the books. The ledger is a mess. Your employees have made their entries sloppily and often in haste. It takes you a long time to make sense of it all. You spend the entire day comparing documents and analyzing numbers. In the evening, once everything is added up, you finally determine that the print shop's revenue has increased over the last year. It has usually been barely enough to keep the business running, but lately our book printing and other orders have been extremely lucrative. You walk home that night with several heavy coin purses hanging from your belt. Bobby, I don't think we're gonna get the family of means achievement this playthrough. Just
Whoa, whoa, that's so much money. Look at
well,
that.
there you go. Yeah, Bobby,
We're
I don't think we're gonna get the family of means playthrough this achievement this playthrough. I'll have to
I
come
mean,
back.
we don't need money. We don't need money when we have our family, I guess. Something like that.
Well, we
We
don't.
still have our big house. We still have what? We still have Gloria, right? She can probably earn some money on the side with her poetry.
How are you expecting Gloria to earn money on the side, Bobby?
It's just poetry, man. Nothing else. Just like, just, just, maybe one day, or we'll go over to some rich ponds, and we'll tell him that Gloria is actually a boy.
So that's actually a feature of the noble playthrough. You can actually essentially sell Gloria to another nobleman.
Well. So you can marry her to a nobleman, and he will pay for it. But that's a little bit different from you just selling her, because she's actually happier at the end, like with him.
Bobby,
Uh,
what is marriage?
no,
Marriage is
no,
a father
it's
selling a
it's.
daughter to a prospective son-in-law.
I mean, sometimes it's like it's different though. Selling isn't selling, because you have long contracts, last like 20 years or something. Your daughter is born and she's wedded to like some other kid, but then the other kid kind of doesn't just like come over and steal her away from you. You have all the play dates, you have all the like socializing, all that stuff, and it's like different. It's I guess you have the smart contracts versus like marketplace. Like whatever we have today is like market, where you sell things immediately and without any preparation, while the older selling stuff is like all based on these auto-fulfilling contracts. I don't know how could they be auto? I don't know, auto-fulfilling by the grace of God, the God smart contract, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, I don't know. I mean, Gloria, we could, I don't know, we could like prostitute her.
Okay, there you go. You said the quiet part out loud. Alright, on that note, after many years, the simmering, unceasing hostilities between Overseer Gaius Tempest and Archduke Milanidas have finally come to an end. The Archduke has abandoned all attempts to collect additional taxes from the people. By my grace, I hereby release the common people of Magra from the Archduke's tax. All hail the dynasty of Milanidas, which has protected you since time immemorial. The farmers and merchants can finally heave a sigh of relief. Unexpectedly, the Archduke soon withdrew from all provincial affairs, sequestering himself in his ancient castle of Serpenverda. Serpenverda. The gentry
Serpent
who...
Bird is like the green serpent or something.
Something like that. The gentry who remain loyal to the Archduke are baffled. Has he accepted defeat at the hands of the Overseer, or is this just an elaborate ruse? Either way, with the Archduke out of the picture, the senior gentry of Magra have lost some of their influence to the Overseer and his retinue of budding dynasties and nobles of the mantle. The feud between the two Archnean rulers has ended, but the noble estate has been split nonetheless. The common people see this as yet another reason to demand change. Wealth is up, power is up. Now that Archduke Milanidas has yielded in his struggle for power, the city of Anizote is enjoying a moment of respite. But your gut tells you to stay on your guard. A powerful Archnean noble has relinquished some of his power, and someone will surely make an attempt to seize it.
It's gonna be us.
So true. You tell your people to watch the city closely and report anything even slightly suspicious to you right away. At first they mistake your unease for unfounded paranoia, but your gut feeling soon proves to be true. Late one night, Alita barges into the print shop clearly excited. Fuad's found something big. You've got to see this. She takes you to the north gate. Fuad is waiting for you in a dark back street next to a sizable wooden crate. The old man lifts the heavy lid with a groan. Here, my friend, take a look. You take a step closer and freeze involuntarily. Alita manages a nervous chuckle. Fuad wipes beads of sweat from his brow. Inside the crate are at least 24 gunpowder muskets, along with the bullet pouches full of lead balls. With a couple of kegs of gunpowder, this would be enough to arm a full squad. You cannot help but recall the convicts' revolt in Illyria 3 years ago. Nowadays, anyone even suspected of owning a firearm similar to the guns they used is sent to the gallows at once. Where did Fuad find all this? The old man lifts a finger, eager to enlighten you. So I was doing my watch, just like you asked, in a nice little place by the gate. And then I see a loaded wagon with 3 sturdy fellows on it. They look every bit like your ordinary workmen, except there's something funny about them. They keep whispering and fidgeting, all odd-like, so I think maybe they're last straw, right? I wanted to shush them, tell them to calm down, but the twins told me I better wait. And then, bam! They get stopped by a patrol. The gendarmes keep asking them questions. Before you know it, they ask to see what's in the crate. Well, that was that. The youngsters were all over the gendarmes before I could blink. They did a real number on them, I tell you what. The gendarmes barely managed to cry out for help before they all got knocked out. Then the guys started bickering. They ended up dumping the crate down an alley and scattering. The gendarmes came too and stumbled after them. Everyone forgot about the crate. I thought I ought to see what all the fuss was about. When I saw that was in there, I dragged the crate off to the side and called for you right away. You give the packing crate a closer look and notice a trademark brand on the side. This is a crate from one of Mayor Egmont's mines. They usually contain silver. So Egmont is smuggling firearms into the city now, and men who know about it are being hunted by the prefecture. They will not be able to hide for long. And once they are finally caught, it will not be long before Felipe hears about these weapons. You stare at the guns, lost in thought. Where did Egmont procure these weapons? Are there more of them stashed throughout the city? You might not have all the answers, but you still have to do something.
We're definitely going to use this opportunity to not talk to anyone. So we're going to just keep his secret safe.
Well, you know, we are going with Anglo-Marxist John Milton, and Mayor Egmont is clearly the Karl Marx figure, so...
Yeah, he even looks like one. He's a miners' guild man. Where, by the way, like, America had a fuck ton of what are they, company towns and mining towns and just entire, millions of workers. But why weren't they like communists? Why didn't communism like big C communism arise in America?
Well, it's mostly because it's kind of not in America's DNA to be communist. Although a lot of them were communist, or at least they were socialist. Upton Sinclair and was a big communist. I'm trying to remember who the really famous socialist was, leader of the Socialist Party of America, because the SPA, the Socialist Party of America, was very big around that time. I'm gonna look him up. One big Billy Haywood.
It was Bernie Sanders the first.
It wasn't Bernie Sanders. Hold on.
Isn't Bernie Sanders part of like social? He's social democrat.
Yeah, like social democrat, tomato. It's just like fucking diet socialism. Eugene V. Debs. That's who it was. Eugene V. Debs is the famous American socialist. He ran a couple of times from prison, actually. But yeah, Bobby, there were a lot of, especially in the early 20th century and the Great Depression, there were a lot of unions, factory worker unions, coal miner unions, mostly because it fucking sucked to work in a factory and to mine coal. Basically they wanted to be not treated like shit.
People still did it. Didn't it pay well?
It paid a living wage. Yeah, you could buy a house off a coal miner's salary, and people did. Now,
towns.
Let's say again.
People bought entire towns.
Yeah.
Minus salary, right? They created companies, and I mean, even today, like, I bet who's like the big coal man in America, besides people on Twitter.
Well, I can tell you who the coal magnate of the Fahrenreich is, and that's Mr. David Wayne. He kind of plays into it too, but no. I mean, I don't know if there's a big coal man in the United States right now. I'm sure there is. Coal remains an important resource. Like, we just don't see it in public consciousness anymore. I mean, I don't know, man, but like, yes, there were a lot of workers' unions, miners' unions in the United States, in especially the early 20th century. This, and most famously, you have the Battle of Blair Mountain in West Virginia, which was the first use of aircraft bombardment during wartime. Not during
Battle of
wartime.
Tony Blair Mountain.
Yeah, something like that. But it was straight up the U.S. National Guard versus an armed militia of miners. You also have other sort of skirmishes, the Youngstown steel plant where the Pinkertons killed a bunch of striking workers. Um,
Since were like a real thing, I thought it was like Red Dead Redemption stuff.
oh no, no, no! The Pinkertons still exist. The Pinkertons are still a company in the United States. You can work for them. They're a subsidiary of Securitas, which is, I think, a Swedish defense company or Swedish private security company. But yeah, Pinkerton still exists. They do mostly security consulting now. But yeah, no, the Pinkertons were real.
But they're not like a gang.
They weren't a gang in the traditional sense, but they were like a private police force. It was called the Pinkerton Detective Agency, and and they're famous, and they're usually depicted as like the corrupt, money men enforcers in every Wild West genre, because that's kind of what they were. I mean, they thwarted an assassination on Abe Lincoln in 1862.
Honest Abe.
Say again?
Honest Abe Lincoln.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't like him very much, but yeah, Bobby. So yes, to answer your question, yeah, socialism, the Socialist Party of America, and more communistic undertones did have a sort of heyday in the early 20th century in the United States, but America is not a communist country. We are,
Even today, I mean, today you're definitely more communist than like Russia post 1940s.
Oh, I totally agree. I listened to an interview recently with my good buddy Sean Wieland that was on Dimes's channel, and Sean Wieland basically says modern portfolio theory and publicly traded corporations was a way of communizing the United States without calling it communism.
But it's also true that it's not, that it's not really communist. Things have their own forms and aesthetics. Like, we know when something is and when something isn't. When you don't have, even if, yes, communism is when crazy, horrendous, genetic abominations kill beautiful people, right? Yeah, that's communism. But, like, it also has this aesthetic of the Khrushchevkas, right? The big communist buildings, commie blocks. The socialist realism style, right? You could say the Zoroastrian influence on the mausoleums and like arches and all of that stuff, right? And then of course Orthodox Christianity is there too, even if the Soviet Union was an atheist state. So like, yeah, of course, like, this isn't communism as much as it's funny to call it that and to make like allusions, but it's definitely bad.
Yeah, I mean, it's just the United States. Like, I guess to answer your question, then we'll return. The United States is not really a communist country in the sense, like Americans have always kind of been uncomfortable at the prospect of anything communal. We're a very private property driven nation. America is teleologically liberal. It will always be teleologically liberal.
Wouldn't you say that something like Old Glory Club or just fraternities are communal in nature?
It's different though. The difference is, what part of society that is found in. Communism is when the fraternity is mandated by the state. The sort of Catholic mode of being is when the fraternity is found only within the church.
What if something's mandated by nature? By
say
necessity? Again? What if something's mandated by necessity or by nature?
Then you have liberalism. Because fraternity in the American sort of liberal conception, is a private agreement between private parties in order to assist each other and the community. You know, Bobby, I tell you, American life can be broken down into three pieces of the pie. There's the public life, which is government, taxes, things like that. Private life, which is your household, your business, your personal relationships, your job, etc. And then there's civil society, which is the third pie slice, which is kind of a weird third thing in between them. Civil society is, any nonprofit work, volunteering, being a part of a hunt club, being a part of a fraternal organization like the OGC or the Masons. That's your church life as well. That is civil society. All that is civil society. And it's meant to be a place where people from the public and the private sector can kind of meet on a neutral playing field and get things, work with each other, which is the best way to cause societal advancement, is to have people, know each other personally. How do you think the Democrats and the Republicans get so much done behind the scenes? It's because they all know each other personally, because they all live in the same area,
Also because they've got blackmail on everyone.
Well, that's true as well, but I think a large part of it is really just the fact that at the end of the day, all these senators live in D.C. or around it, and most of their time is not spent with their constituents; it's spent with each other, and so and there's
go to restaurants. Do they ever walk out onto the street?
Oh yeah,
or go to the market or something?
Oh yeah, no, all the time. That's all of DC is basically built to support these people.
Have you ever met your local politician at a supermarket that he's picking out milk, and you don't want to look at him, but you also kind of do want to approach him?
I've never done that, but I have met and interviewed a local politician of mine at a bookstore, and no one really seemed to recognize him. But
yeah, I had so when I was 16, yeah, something like that. We went to I lived in St. Petersburg at that time. For half a year, I went back to Russia. But we went to this Russian restaurant, a classic Russian restaurant that serves Russian dishes. In reality, they're obviously not entirely Russian, but whatever. And hey, the entirety of the Red Hot Chili Peppers was there. All of them were just sitting next to us, and no one recognized them. In fact, my dad was the only person to recognize them. That was and I didn't even ask for an autograph because I don't care about them. I don't care. Do you like Red Hot Chili Peppers?
No, I never liked that whole '90s grunge band scene. But by the way, Bobby, Saddam Hussein, the indefatigable. Yes, as a matter of fact, Saddam Hussein himself is one of my followers. He answered an earlier question of yours. He said Chris Klein is the big coal magnate of the United States right now.
What does Klein mean? Klein is a type of mineral, right?
Cline. I mean, I don't know.
Okay. Well, hey, I have to tell you about this paper that I've read. So my friend studies economics at university in Palermo, but he's not specifically interested in economics, or he has never been interested in economics. As long as I've known him, he wanted to do whatever. First he studied for journalism, then he went somewhere else. But I think he tried some other faculty. But now he has finally graduated from economics, and he wrote this paper about the analysis between Spain and Italy in terms of their economy templates. And so he says, okay, well, there were planned economies, and then there were liberal economies, and now it's all mixed market economies. And well, obviously he's kind of wrong, because it's always going to be planned. But he says that, okay, well, this is using the technologies, what we have now is markedly different from what was before. he doesn't realize that it's like different. He doesn't think in the way that we think about economics, that it's like a connection between everything. But economics isn't just numbers on paper, right? It's like philosophy, it's biology, it's the good and the bad, and it's what you face each time you peek out of your little ramshackle boathouse, right? But he doesn't think that, and he goes through like comparing, well, what did people do, what were these economies like, how did we come here, and he just it's okay, it's well written because you can read it, it's easy, it's not purple prose, it's not Jordan Peterson merit, but he just keeps writing. And then they gave more rights to the workers. And then, like, the economy goes down, blah, 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 blah. And then they gave more rights to workers. And then they, like, gave more money to workers. And this sector needs more investment. And this sector needs more investment. And in the end, his conclusion to all of this. Oh, also, he says that women don't work enough. Women don't earn as much money as the men. Women don't work as much as the men. Of course, he brings up the fact that people aren't breeding, but he doesn't connect it to anything. He said that, well, look at this graph. We've got people who have been without a job for more than 12 months. But he doesn't like explain how they calculated it and who do they include in it. Because I suspect that they don't include people who are just like bums that have lived for like years and are not even getting any like government help, right? They go to these like what are they called? You call like support houses, soup kitchens, exactly. Paul?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Yeah, okay. Well, and he says that the reason people are without a job for 12 months is because of discrimination, because of lack of opportunity, because of like lack of investment, lack of support.
So
But he doesn't even mention.
that's actually
Well,
true if you're talking about straight white men.
not not exactly, because if you're without a job, if you're homeless or without a job for more than 12 months, and you're not like searching for a job, because that's important. Are you searching or are you not searching? If you're searching for a job, like actively searching for more than 12 months, it is very, very likely that you have a mental illness. He doesn't even mention that. He doesn't even mention the rising tide of mental illnesses today. Like nowhere is that a thing. Then there was a thing about immigrants, right? But and for I was very happy when I read it and I saw that nowhere did he suggest that we need to import more people. Maybe it's because of me, maybe it's because of someone else. I don't know. He doesn't write that. Good. And so like throughout all of this paper, then we come up to this description of Italy as a country characterized by its decentrality, by the fact that it is decentralized. I mean, that's such bullshit. That is such a massive piece of shit, because it's completely wrong. It's not decentralized. Everyone knows that it's not decentralized. Everyone thinks of Italy not as United States of Italy. And no one says, "Oh, we're going to Lazio. We're going to the region of Lazio." No, people say we're going to Rome. Right? And yeah, like obviously Sicily is a thing, but Sicily is an island, right? Or people, but more than that, I mean, you have the equivalent of FBI in every little town. You have Carabinieri, you have the United Language, and all of the recent history of Italy. So it's like 200 years. Was about uniting Italy, was about centralizing it, right? There are Garibaldi statues everywhere. There's there's a giant building in the center of Rome that is just the palace of unification. I mean, centralization is like what fascism was about, nothing but the state. And he just writes that shit. And it was terrible. And yeah, then the paper ends with, hey, we need more investment. We need more money for them programs. We need more money for them programs. Really, he said, "Oh, we need more investment in this sector, this sector." What investment? What money? There is no money. You've just described how the debt is like 5 times bigger than whatever the country has in it. Right? There is no money. Like more investment and more centralization, more connected networks, more like, and he doesn't say anti-fragility or pro fragility. He doesn't know about this. But yeah, and this paper, which is kind of a piece of shit, right? Like people would fail students in the past with this paper, especially because he doesn't even mention buying power. I mean, shit. Like, come on. He compares Franco's regime and the democratic regime that comes after, and he just says that, oh well, Franco regime was fascist and it was anti-liberal, but he doesn't like compare the economics of that regime with the one that comes after, with the buying power, with the inflation. Like no, nothing happens. Yeah, and he not only did he graduate with that paper, he got paid for it. He got, well, what is called like a pension. I think it's also called a pension in America, right? Like when you study and the government pays you to study.
That's not a pension. That's a fellowship, I think, or a
Yeah,
scholarship.
fellowship. It's in Russian it's called welfare. Well, it's called пособие, which means welfare. In Italian they call it pension, and you call it fellowship. So yeah,
Well,
yeah,
Bobby,
terrible. It's
th- thank you very much for sharing this absolutely fucking terrible paper with me. I have learned nothing, and I will proceed to continue hating on all
yeah,
Italian economists.
yeah. Well, besides the base ones.
Well, yeah, but they
Um,
weren't economists; they were just mathematicians. You
True.
tell Alida and Fuad to find the smugglers as soon as possible. They are to use all your people to distract the gendarmes from the chase. The smugglers need to escape pursuit, no matter the cost. And when we find them, what do we do with them? They are to take them to a safe house, by force if need be. And the guns? You will return the guns to their rightful owner. Fuad and Alida nod knowingly and hurry away. Once you are alone, you conceal the crate from prying eyes and walk to Egmont's house. Egmont opens the door himself, still bleary-eyed. He looks surprised. Paul, do you have any idea how late it is? You walk in without waiting for an invitation. This matter is too important for politeness. You quickly inform him about the crate of guns and the smugglers on the run from the prefecture and the last straw. If Sir Egmont wants to keep his secrets hidden from his worst enemies, he needs to explain himself. Sir? He's Sir Egmont now. I thought he was just a... Anyway, this seems to be some kind of misunderstanding, Paul.
Yeah.
You repeat the question more forcefully. Now is not the time to hem and haw. If Egmont is planning an armed revolt, he needs to tell it to you straight. He made a big mistake by keeping me out of the loop. Fine, Brante, you're right. Your friend Sophia talked me into it. She claims the revolt will fail without good weapons, no matter how just our cause. The people need something that will enable them to stand their ground against the noble militia and the legion. Firearms are our best option. So true. She told me to keep it a secret and tell no one. So you didn't know? You keep your eyes trained on Egmont, but he seems to be telling the truth. Does Felipe know? No. Even he would never. You tell Egmont to keep talking. Sophia made a deal with someone in Illyria. I don't know who. I'm just a middleman. My men take the guns, bring them into the city, and leave them for Sophia's people to stash somewhere. I hesitated when she told me, Paul, but these guns are the people's only chance at victory. We had to do it. Egmont's voice trails off. You tell him where to find the crate. His men will return shortly. He can't rest easy now. Or he can rest easy now. His secret, Sophia's secret, is safe with you. You have my thanks, Paul. I'm truly sorry we didn't trust you with this right away. I'm sure Sophia only kept you out of it to keep the plan safe. The fewer people know about it, the less risk there is. With that, you leave his house and return to the moonlit streets of Anizote. Somewhere in the city are dozens of gun stashes waiting hidden, and when the time comes, the common estate will take up arms and there will be blood.
Common estate. Well, not Mr. Mayor Egg.
Oh,
Is
we can stop this. Deafening silence fills your home. You are standing by Mother's bedside. So are Father, Gloria, and Nathan. For an entire day, Mother has been feverish, barely conscious. Gloria never leaves her side, not even for a minute. Nathan has stopped drinking so he can offer your sisters awkward help. Mother's health deteriorated greatly over the past year, and the fighting in the family home has dealt a great blow to her. She has been bedridden for a month. You have been to every doctor and folk healer, but no one can help her. They all tell you the same thing. Lady Lydia's life is in the hands of the twins now. If she passes away, she will not come back. And so you wait by Mother's bed in sorrow, hoping that she will regain consciousness. There is a long silence that no one has the courage to break. Then at last you hear Nathan's meek voice. Mother, it's me, Nathan. Can you hear me? Mother suddenly rises on her elbows. She looks around, her eyes unseeing, beads of sweat forming on her pale forehead. My son, where are you? Nathan takes Mother by her thin, emaciated hand. She leans closer to him, struggling to recognize his face. Stefan, were you playing with your younger brothers in the garden? You must be all dirty. Come here. You may not be my son, but I care for you as though you were my own. Oh, what a nice, happy family we have. A blessing from the twins. Nathan is unsure what to do or say. Father strokes his wife's hair. His eyes are two orbs of searing, indescribable pain. You're a little confused, Lydia. This is Nathan, and the children are all grown up now, remember? Mother's eyes were bright and alive just now, but the next moment they grow dim again. Her head falls weakly back onto the pillow. You're right, my husband. The children grew up, but I was never able to teach them how to live in peace with each other. I let you down, Robert. You made a mistake when you took me into your home. You saved my daughter and me from a life of poverty, and how did I repay you? Gloria cannot take it anymore. What are you saying, Mother? Don't you dare blame yourself. You did your best. You did all you could. Father looks away, unable to hold back the deluge of tears. Mother's voice, so faint now, calls out to you. And Paul, where is he? With great care, you move closer to Mother. You answer her quietly. You're right. You're here, right by her side. Paul, I'm so happy to know you're here. I always knew greatness awaited you, ever since you were a little boy. What a shame I won't be there to see it. I couldn't save the Brante family. I will face my punishment at the final judgment, but don't worry, my dears, I am ready to stand before the twins. Lydia Bronte's voice trails off. No longer a voice, just a final whisper of life. Will you accept your mother's death, or will you find a way to fight for her life?
Oh, everything is open. Oh, let's see which one's the best one. Curious strength of Mother. Let's see. Unity +1 or... Oh, look at this one. Of course, unite the family.
Well, yeah, we've already been branded by
we
dishonor.
worked hard for this. So
we've already been branded by dishonor. You refuse to accept this. Mother must not die. The Brante family must not fall apart. For years and years you have fought tooth and nail to keep this family united, working hard to resolve every quarrel. You never conspired against Stefan, and you never stabbed Gloria in the back. Now it is time to take family matters into your own hands. The family strife must end. You lean down to Mother's ear and whisper, No, Mother has not failed anyone. She has always given her all to this family. She taught you well, and she took good care of you. She has nothing whatsoever to blame herself for. Your family is torn apart by quarrels, but you are still a family because of Mother. She has no right to abandon you in this dark hour. With a great effort, Mother lifts her head slightly. She looks over the faces of her family huddled around her bed. Gloria, with her arms folded on her chest in an unspoken prayer. Nathan pressing himself timidly against his sister. A faint, humble glimmer of hope appeals in Mother's eyes. We are still a family. You stroke Mother's hair gently. Yes, we are. We are all Brontes. We are a family. And as long as we remember that we are one, we will weather any storm and overcome any strife. Times are changing, and the family must face these changes, but was it not Mother who taught us to face life with humility? Suddenly, there's a flurry of footsteps outside the store. To everyone's surprise, Stefan runs into Mother's bedroom, flustered. He has been gone for so long. Frightened, Gloria leaps from her seat and stands between him and Mother, but Stefan ignores her and walks straight to the bed. Lydia, how are you? I hurried back home as soon as I could. Your words and Stefan's sudden show of concern transform Mother, bringing her back to life before your very eyes. She sits up in bed. The color returns to her pallid cheeks. Mother, you're not leaving us. Brother, your words are better than any medicine. Lydia. Paul is right. I simply cannot abandon you like this. The twins only know what you'll get up to without me around. You look back at your flustered family and address them fervently from the bottom of your heart. We nearly brought a terrible woe upon ourselves, you tell them. This is all the result of our strife, mistrust, and animosity. You stare first at Stefan, then at Gloria. They both remain silent, burning with shame. You say that this cannot continue. It is time for them to wise up and stop scheming against one another. You think I wouldn't love to live in a calm, peaceful home? I'm just defending myself against Stefan's attempts to drive me out. He's the one who's obsessed with our family's reputation. Agitated, Stefan interrupts her. All I'm doing is trying to build a life for you. We can't legally accept you into our family just like that, don't you understand? The Brante family has to be ennobled by the sword. There's nothing more important than that. But then Stefan glances at Mother, who returned from the brink a mere moment ago, and his voice trails off. You ask your brother sternly, has he considered the price our family must pay to be ennobled by the sword? Is Stefan ready to sacrifice the family just to have it ennobled? Brother, we're just a step away from fulfilling our grandfather's greatest mission. I don't really think so. We're branded by dishonor. And now you want me to reject it?
We're completely fucked.
You reply to your brother calmly, It is time for us all to decide what is most important, our family's standing or our happiness. Stefan grows quiet as he ponders your words, but Father suddenly interjects. And we will choose happiness, Stefan. I am the Brante patriarch. I bear the responsibility for our family. And if the road to the sword will cost our family this much, then we must remain as we are. Stefan is silent. His throat twitches now and then, as though he is trying to swallow something. Gloria and Nathan watch him, both hopeful. Your other brother stands up and starts pacing around the room. His face convulses. He is on the verge of tears. Father, Paul, I agree. I need to acknowledge that I have failed to fulfill Grandfather's mission. Well, so be it. Perhaps future generations of Brontes will be ennobled by the sword, but right now our duty is to preserve this family. Gloria, for the sake of our entire family, you must become a Bronte once and for all. Gloria's mouth is agape. She cannot believe her ears. You reach over and give her the smallest push. Ever so slowly, she walks towards Stefan and bows. Stefan, I never dreamed you'd... I'll never forget this. Father opens his arms wide for Gloria. Dishonor does not frighten me. Gossip does not frighten me. Come to me, my daughter, Gloria Brante. Gloria falls on her adoptive father's shoulders, racked by silent tears. Father! You join their embrace. Gloria squeezes your hand in hers, your sister's eyes glimmering with joy and gratitude. She looks away to catch Stefan's gaze. He smiles at his sister with a mixture of grief and happiness. Your family stands together, embracing over your mother, who is too happy to speak. Your family is united at last. Days pass and Mother's condition continues to improve. The illness that once seemed so intractable slowly releases her from its clutches. And the enmity between Stefan and Gloria, the strife that has poisoned the family, is now finally gone.
Resolved everything. Masterful.
But Stefan still doesn't like me.
Stefan is afraid of what will happen to him when he goes down into the crypt. You know, imagine he dies accidentally when he wakes up there and the grandfather is there. Right? Oh man, he's just going to kill Stefan. He's going to eat him alive. It's going to be an angry ghost. What it's like? Oh, you know how in Japan they have the angry vengeful ghost, like in The Grudge, The Ring, like the woman in white dress with long black hair. Is there like an equivalent for the English folklore, like a vengeful ghost?
The vengeful ghost. I mean,
it's like you have the Grateful Dead. Maybe you have the vengeful.
The Grateful Dead.
Well, yeah, the Grateful Dead is a folklore term first. You know?
Yeah, I suppose so.
I'll have to actually send that to Chris Sandbadge, the Vengeful Dead.
The sitting room is brightly illuminated by dozens of candles. Today, the tapestry bearing the Bronte family crest, an oak branch wrapped in chains, hangs above the fireplace. The petitions have been granted and the paperwork is ready. Today, Gloria will join the Bronte family and become your father's lawful daughter.
More like awful daughter.
Ah! Gloria is standing by the fireplace, clothed in a modest black dress quite unlike her usual trousers and men's jacket. Even her hair is braided today. For the sake of this momentous occasion, she is behaving as reservedly as she can, though she often glances at you with gratitude. Father steps forward solemnly and makes a speech as the family watches in profound silence. Come closer, Gloria, and become a branch of the Bronte family tree. Gloria kneels humbly before the man she has called Sir Robert all her life. He holds his hand in front of her face as the ceremony demands. From this day forth you shall be a full member of this family, your fate now bound with ours. Wear your name with honor, and may the Bronte family prosper with you. Gloria leaves a filial... Say again?
But what a great illustration, despite her looking like a man. Despite Gloria looking like a man.
Gloria leaves a filial kiss on the fingers of his outstretched hand. Now rise, Gloria Bronte. Slowly, gracefully, confidently, Gloria rises to her feet. For the first time since childhood, she looks and seems like your older sister. With a smile, Father at last embraces adopted daughter as a parent. Gloria warmly responds to his embrace, then hurries to you. Paul, we're legally brother and sister now. I owe it all to you. I swear I'll never forget what you've done for me. I promise I'll be more careful from now on. I'll only do what's best for the family name whose name I bear. You answer her without hesitation. Gloria has always been your family. All you did was make it official. Your sister squeezes your hand in excitement. This is her day, and the day she has been waiting for all her life. Oh, yeah. Well, we were already there.
Now we're rich, and we've got a happy family. Even if we are terribly disgraced. Wonderful.
Nope.
Has that ever happened, like, in American history, where they adopt this, like, wayward son or daughter, and then they lose all of their reputation?
I mean, I'm sure it has.
Like we're not talking about slaves and the myth of one of the founders having, like, slave children. What was that one? Oh man, it's gonna be Tamaga's wedding. Well, before we go forward with that. Like, do you know any examples of like dynasties falling into disgrace because of adoption in America? Because in England, of course, there are a lot of examples, like the recent one with the what's his name, Prince something, like the guy who wrote the book, and he married Meghan Markle,
Oh
and
yeah,
then
Prince
she
Prince
took him
Harry.
to America. Exactly. Then she took him to America, and she's an awful like lunchtime rowdy. So, but what about America? Any examples?
Um, I don't know.
Maybe it's not the same thing in America. Maybe family is less important in America, than
I
like Europe. No?
I'm sure I'm sure that something like that has happened, no immediate no immediate example comes to mind. In addition, I've been seeing that, the sorry, my mind is on something else at the moment. I need to probably speak it aloud before my mind goes to
Oh, go ahead.
anything
Go
else,
ahead.
which
Speak
is
it
the
out.
fact that the Arlington Moses Ezekiel's masterwork statue in the Confederate section of Arlington National Cemetery is going to be taken down and moved. Which, you know,
Are you going to do anything about it?
well, the problem is I can't because Arlington, it is not the battlefield to fight on because that's all property of the federal government and particularly of the U.S. defense establishment. So, like, if you tried to stop that, that is like serious. The thing is, though, is it's like there's no local support for it. I mean, when Bobby, I just feel powerless, man. It's like
But where are they moving it to?
I have no
Maybe you can
clue.
maybe you can hijack the truck and like put it in your apartment, put it in your house.
Bobby, the statue is the
Just put it in
statue
your pocket.
the statue is yeah, just put it in my pocket. Yeah, fair enough. Um
Can't you like where are they bringing the statue?
I have no clue. All I know is they're moving it and
Yeah, it sucks. I think you should like if there's places in your state like the Traveler's Grave one, but there's also stuff with besides Traveler's Grave, right? There's like the Robert E. Lee's grave. So maybe you should like maybe you should guard that. Like put in a little tower nearby, a little castle with a big beautiful wall.
yeah.
Well, maybe you can win a battle.
I don't think this is the battle to win. If
Maybe not this one.
the battle to win would have been Washington and Lee, and I mean, because that's a private institution. That's a lot easier to fight. This is the federal government, quite literally in, like, this would be like trying to stop Sauron from doing something right below the fucking tower in Mordor.
Yeah.
Like like Arlington is property of the federal government. This statue is property of the federal government. They can do what they damn well please with it, which really bothers me, because I don't know. I don't know. I mean, it's just
Yeah, it sucks.
it's culture comp is what it is. It's an attempt. I've always said this. The only culture that is being warred with in the culture war is Christian white America, specifically Protestant white America. They are the group that is being targeted. No other group is being targeted in the same way. Not even like trad caths. Right? Oh, the FBI is monitoring them. But like, no one really cares about trad caths. So, I don't know, Bobby.
Maybe they care about Chad Cats in their connection to Russia.
Yeah, I mean maybe, and I mean, but the thing is it's like it's literally like the government in place right now just has a hate boner for the founding populace of the United States.
They have a hate boner for just like, like, do they really have a hate boner?
Yes,
I guess you're right. Yeah,
yes, they
but
do.
like, isn't Joe Biden is Catholic, right?
Yeah, Joe. Yeah, he's yes, he is.
So, oh man. Well,
Well, look, I mean, the statues have been my big thing, and every time there's another one that comes down, it puts me in a
well,
sour mood.
maybe you can place new statues. Like, can't you? Like with the old Glory Club, when it gets big enough, and when you'll have like people paying subscription fees or like taxes to you could probably erect new statues, or maybe make them like maybe instead of just a plaque on Traveler's grave, you could erect a whole horse. Right? You don't.
I mean, my thing is it's like the Quickcrete and 3D printed plaques.
That's pretty.
That was Cringe Walker's idea, but I mean, yeah, I mean it's a good idea, and that might be one of the ways to fight this guerrilla battle.
Well, yeah, once you set up the fraternities, you could tell people to do that, and it's not difficult to.
Well, the OGC is an apolitical organization. It wouldn't be done that way. I mean, this would have to be private individuals who are willing to get into trouble with the law over preserving their history. I mean, I don't know, man.
Would it be a charge of vandalism?
It would be, yes.
Well, it depends. Only if they catch them.
Well, I mean, we live in a surveillance state, man. So it's I don't know, man. Basically,
just leave the phone at home, man. Just leave the phone at home.
I guess so. I don't know.
Maybe you'll have to make concrete by yourself.
Maybe.
Just like collect little shells of the beach, and then like make. That could be cool. You could get a chemistry guy.
Concrete sales are not monitored, right? No one like people buy concrete all the time. Like no one cares if you buy concrete. This is the whole civil disobedience thing. Is it's like the best way to disobey is to just like follow the law.
Go into a government building and pour Quickcrete into all of the toilets.
I mean, there you go.
Yeah, or no, because like that's a little bit more difficult. The cooler thing is to take the little silicone expanding balls, the ones that absorb water. You just pour them into the toilet because initially they're very solid. There's not a lot of oxygen inside them, so they go deeper into the pipes, and then they like expand completely far. You have to like dig out the entire pipe, or you have to pour in strong acid down there.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. I mean, but like, what are you really impacting at that point?
Exactly.
Like,
you're only impacting the pipes.
Yeah, it's like, oh wow, you're making the federal government spend money to do stuff. Oh wow,
your money.
Yeah, I wonder where they're gonna get that money from.
Exactly.
Yeah, so I don't know, Bobby. Tomas's wedding.
Yeah, Tomas.
This is a day you remember well. It began with a loud, impatient knock at the door. You were surprised to see Tomas paying a visit to your home. There is joy on his face as your old friend shakes your hand. Brante, it's been a while since I saw you last. I just got back to the city. I visited my folks, then ran straight here. Otten finally stopped hounding me. I sure hope that whole mess is over for good. You invite your friend in, but he gestures for you to wait, a sly smile on his face. I'm in a hurry right now, buddy. So much to do in so little time. I'll explain. I just got back from Sulmina. There was this girl in the village, a shopkeeper named Mira. She gave me shelter, and I ended up falling head over heels in love with her. You congratulate your friend and pat him on the shoulder with joy. He laughs happily. My poor ma and pa, all their life they'd hoped I married a noble woman. I used to hope for that too when I was young, but now I know some things matter more than noble titles. Mira is about to be my wife. You offer Tomas words of congratulation, but he suddenly grows serious. Otten's left me alone, but Miri and I will still be better off far away from Anizate. I wasn't happy serving in the Legion anyway. I thought the nobleman's lot would set me free from suffering and do the same for my descendants, but it just ain't that simple. I was less free than ever. I'll be better off as a commoner again, earning my living by the sweat of my brow. A farmstead might not be an estate, but the high and mighty won't ever set their sights on me again. I'll live my life in peace, just like I wanted. I've got one last request for you, though, Paul. You've done so much for me, but I'd be honored if you'd be a witness to my wedding vows. before the twins. Oh, I'm not a priest. But yeah.
Yeah, of course we're going to bear witness to their wedding vows.
Of course I will. Yeah.
No,
Your hand comes to rest on Tomas's shoulder. It would be an honor and a privilege for you to be a witness at your friend's wedding. Tomas glows with joy. Wonderful. You've got no idea how much this means to me, Paul. I gotta go get ready. Several days later, you follow your childhood friend to the smallish temple nestled on the edge of the brass district. He is wearing a plain white shirt. Needless luxuries are forbidden at the austere wedding ritual. You are both welcomed by the bride, a blonde-haired young woman, innocence and hospitality written across her trusting face. The bride's parents stand further away, two aging villagers eyeing the streets of the big city with suspicion. Mira, meet Paul Brante, my best friend ever since we were lads. He'll bear witness to our oaths before the twins. The bride greets you with a humble bow. The three of you step inside the temple. You close the doors behind you. The tradition demands no one else be allowed to attend the sacred wedding ritual. An amiable, aged priest by the name of Ignatius Avantini meets you inside. Tomas and Mira kneel before the altar. O twins, elder and younger, behold these two as they kneel before you. They beseech you to join them in eternal wedlock. The candle flames dance and quiver. You hear a strange murmur in the temple. The darkness beneath the vault of the temple ceiling swirls into two colossal shades. The bride and groom raise their eyes to them, awestruck. Tomas, dost thou swear thy loyalty to this divine union? I do. The bride assents to the same query. Your turn is next. You stand over the kneeling bride and groom and speak their names as the twins watch over you. Thomas Guerra and Mireille Selmina. One of the colossal shades leans over them, looming like a towering sword, while the other bursts in a beacon of blinding light that illuminates the temple from within. Tomas and Mira look into each other's eyes in amazement. From this moment forth, they are bound to one another by divine law, and divine love fills their hearts. In your sight of the twins, Tomas Guerra and Mireille Selmina are now man and wife, as Paul Brante bears witness. The stern, solemn ceremony is ended. It is time to celebrate. A humble but happy feast is to be held in the bride's village. As day gives way to night, you and Tomas leave the revel to enjoy a moment of quiet repose on the front porch. Your old friend looks off into the distance, hopeful. Yeah, remember how we fought in that yard over our little brothers? Look how much has happened since then. Both of you laugh as you recall the beginning of your friendship. I'll treasure those memories forever. I will. And you can be sure that my firstborn son's name will be Paul. Tomas chuckles, pondering. You and I, we grew up on the same street, but look how different we turned out. You have a say in other people's fates, Brante. Your name will surely be remembered, but me, I'm still a humble nobody, and you know what? I'm okay with that. I used to be so sure a man could never start over with a clean slate, but I guess I was wrong. I'll never forget you, Paul Brante, and I'll never forget everything you've done for me. A tear runs down your friend's cheek. For the last time, Tomas embraces you. Tomorrow he will leave Anizate forever. Will you ever meet again? Nobody knows.
And our willpower is consistently in the high 20s. Weird. You know? John Milton meta really works.
John Milton willpower challenge. It's amazing how competent and how energetic you can get if you give up the things of this world.
Yeah, that's true. Our guy is like a turbo incel. Yeah, although he's a Joe cell. Geocell.
Geocell.
It's just I keep saying Joe because it's Joe in Italian because his surname is Italian, right? His family is Italian. And he kind of looks he looks like a Russian Pope, which is a Russian Orthodox priest. Right? They're called popes. Well, Pop.
Bobby,
yeah.
I'm gonna go get another cup of coffee. I will be back in about 20 seconds.
Go get a cup of Joe.
A cup of Geo.
Geo, exactly.
All right, Bobby.
Back.
I'm back. I've got my cup of a giant Geo.
Geo.
Yeah.
Giant Geo Productions, together with Mr. Prudentialist on the digital archipelago.
Yeah, something like that.
Oh, I can imagine we'll. I'll tell you. Once we finish this, I'll tell you my big evil bee, my Sneed plan for the next series of streams, for the next season of. I don't know. We'll have to find a name for the show. I mean, we've got John Milton. Maybe it'll be. Or,
Paul and Bobby just play various video games.
nah. It has to be John. It has to be like Paradise Sneeded or something.
Well, I mean, if we're doing another RPG, we just have to like choose another historical figure we're gonna pretend to be.
I've got an insane plan. It's awesome. It's funny.
What? A Russian having an insane plan?
Yeah, it's good. It's really good. But it'll require a lot of effort. But it's good. And it's very fun. It's very unique too. So
well, I mean, I don't know if I wanna. I don't know if I wanna keep playing dark, dreary Slavic games.
Yeah, it's true. But no, I mean, this isn't that dark and dreary. I mean, it is. It is like kind of sad, but I mean,
it's a brutal game, that's for real. But it's like the thing is though is like I think this game is actually the closest game. I really like this game because I really think it's a simulation of real life. It's the closest thing to an actual simulation of real life I've ever gotten.
Historical.
Because, because in real life the good is mixed with the bad. That's the problem with brutal depictions is they get rid of all the good. Which is just as stupid as like getting rid of all of the bad.
Most of our playthrough has been fairly merry, right? We've had a lot of good things happen to us
at the cost of giving up other things. At the cost of just totally from the outset not caring about becoming ennobled, not caring about societal advancement. Yeah, commoners are always happy because they don't have to worry about things like that. So yeah, this has been a merry playthrough, but just mostly because we've given up a lot of things. We've given up a lot of things and we've taken the choices as they came. So I don't know, Bobby. I mean, yeah, maybe that says something about what you should do in real life, but who knows? Repentance. The last few months have been marked by a welcome absence of quarreling at the Brante estate. Your only concern these days is the price you had to pay for this peace. Today you come home late, wrung dry after a day of work and worry. Everyone is sound asleep. You are making your way to the bedroom when you hear a suspicious noise coming from Father's study. It's too late for Father to be working. You go to the door of the study, trying to tread softly and turn the knob. The room is brightly lit by the moon. You recognize your brother's clumsy silhouette above Father's desks in the moonlight. Nathan hears you come in and leaps to the side in fear. You see something glinting in his hands. Father's dagger. Oh, Paul, it's you. Shush. I just took the dagger for a moment. Don't worry. I know holding a weapon's against my lot. I don't mean anyone any harm. It's for me, actually. I just have to go to the twins. Your younger brother clumsily turns the dagger around, holding against his own body. You try to remain still. Nathan wants to take one of his own lives, but why? I'm not even sure how to say it, brother. I just can't find a place in this world. I'm always an outsider, always a waste of space. Isn't there some place for me in the twins' design? I can't stop thinking about it. I've been trying to understand them for so long. How am I supposed to live in their world? What's my place in their great plan? But I've only made things worse. I meddled with the Markian sect, defied and rejected my lot, indulged in vice, but I found nothing there. The old faith, the new faith, Father Mark's heresy, they gave me all sorts of answers, but none of them worked. There's nothing else left for me now. I've got to go and see the twins myself and ask them. I know I'm an affront to their plan just because I'm alive, but I'll repent. I'll pray for their forgiveness. But the twins never forgive you, tell Nathan softly. They never have and they never will. You will be judged in the hereafter for every false step you take. Your younger brother sighs heavily. Well, Bobby, I guess you could say this is like a world without Christ, No,
I disagree. Christ is abstracted. He's kind of far away, but he's there because you can't have this game without Christianity.
But the twins never forgive. But that's the thing, though, is it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, but once again, de facto and de jure, what is written, what is done. In reality, of course, they forgive, right? Because, but like, everything gets resolved at the end. You obviously the end just shows that this game is impossible to be made without Christianity.
Fair enough.
Christ is.
All right. I know, Mother taught us that all our lives, but I still have to try. There's no other way. One of my lives isn't too big a price if it works. I can't find use for them anyway. See you soon, brother. Hope I'll be different when I come back. A cloud passes over the moon. Father's study grows dark, illuminated only by the shining light of the distant pillar. Nathan's body contorts awkwardly. He raises the dagger, aiming at his own heart.
What are we going to do? Maybe we shouldn't stop him.
John Milton would be like, "All right, go talk to God."
Yeah, go talk to God. You've got like 2 more tries. So
you take a step back. The knife that Nathan is about to take belongs to him. He is free to do with it as he pleases. May he finally find an end to his desperate search for meaning. Nathan whispers a word of gratitude, barely audible, then a sharp exhale as he gets ready to strike. His hands guide the dagger awkwardly through the air and into his chest. The sharp tip reluctantly sinks into his flesh. A weak yelp escapes Nathan's throat. He staggers and falls, blood oozing out of the wound. Moments pass and Nathan's body dissipates as his mortal frame dissolves. He has departed to commune with the twins. What awaits him in the hereafter? You pick up Father's dagger, carefully wipe it clean, and put it in the drawer of his desk where it belongs. When the skies
so do his clothes disappear?
Yeah, I guess so.
When
the skies begin to, I don't question the game. When the skies begin to grow bright before the dawn, you go to the family crypt and welcome your brother back. Nathan is already there, lying atop the granite slab. Even made anew, his naked body is still just as thin, awkward, and feeble. He suddenly stands when he...
His clothes remain on the ground.
He suddenly... Yeah, I don't know. He suddenly stands when he hears your footsteps. His eyes are shining with otherworldly light. I spoke to them, brother. I dared to address them as my soul rose up. I begged the twins for forgiveness, and they heard me. They did. And the elder, he reached out to me, and he wanted to respond to me. I know he did, but the younger sword stopped us. It cut the bond between us, and I fell, but I saw compassion in the elder's eyes as I fell, and he followed me. He shall descend to the lands again. He shall witness our suffering and bring his mercy, and then the world will change at last. Your younger brother shivers, almost convulsing with cold. You wrap him in a black cloak. Together you return home before the sunrise. No one in your family ever learns of Nathan's lesser death. Nathan stops wasting time in taverns with suspicious character. He spends every day in ardent prayer. Again and again his quiet voice speaks of the elder's coming return. The family watches the drastic change in their wayward son with great surprise.
See, sometimes people need to end hero. Or have like lesser deaths.
Yeah.
That's the thing, right? Lesser deaths. Have you ever had a lesser death, Paul?
What would a lesser death be in reality?
Well, I guess I had a lesser death when I did my first guided tour of Palermo, and I realized that I didn't really study for anything, and I had a bunch of people that were like really angry at me for taking their money and wasting their time, and I wanted to like throw everything and sort of just run away and like cry and whatever and piss and shit and calm myself to death, but I didn't, and so I finished it. They still didn't pay, but it was definitely an important part of my life, I guess, leaving behind some sort of childhood, right? Killing some part of myself. What about you, Paul?
I mean, yeah, I'm pretty sure something like that's happened to me. No memory.
You can't remember.
Say again?
If you can't remember your lesser death, then it wasn't lesser death.
Yeah, I don't know.
Probably like your marriage, right?
Yeah, that was. I once again, I don't like talking about that, mostly because I don't want to make it a spectacle.
Good job.
But yeah, I suppose that would be it. Failing to commission, getting fired.
Oh yeah, the getting fired story is very Russian, in the sense of you, not in the sense of getting fired, because no one would care, like if it were in Russia or Italy, people just do it, like it's okay.
Yeah, no.
People on like Americans are a little bit crazy about body, maybe something like that. You're crazy about the natural world.
Yeah.
like my parents were watching Euphoria yesterday, the TV series that's like secretly based, but not really. But in that moment, there in that episode, one of the characters was he was like saying, "Oh, she was 17. You committed statutory rape. You raped her because she couldn't consent." And of course, like to Italians, this is absolutely ridiculous. And some of my Italian friends watched it and they just said like, "Oh my God, Americans are crazy. Americans are insane. What are they doing?" Like that's, they just couldn't understand it. Of course, Russians can't understand it. And the whole pissing outside, right, that's shit. No one would bat an eye at that in Italy. Not anywhere, nowhere. It's just like everyone does it. It's like it's not a, and everyone used to do it because Goethe in his trip around Italy, he describes the scene that when he came to Venice and then he went to live at a rich person's place, he couldn't find the toilet. He couldn't find any way to excrete himself to let loose. But and so he went outside and he asked the servant, and the servant just looks at him and says, "Well, everywhere." And then he saw how commoners would like come up to the like gentry's house, not gentry, but the like higher classes, nobleman's house, exactly, and they would just piss on his square, piss on his house. And Goethe was obviously horrified by that, but yeah, this is one of the fixtures of Italy, and especially Sicily, is that like it's pretty dirty. There's garbage everywhere. He comes to Palermo, he's like, "Holy shit, this is bad," and it's still bad like that. Like Palermo is still a very garbage-filled city. It's not that it's like dirty, like India is dirty, but it's just they don't know what to do with the garbage. The streets are made in such a way that it's difficult to maneuver with a garbage car. It's difficult to organize all of that. Italians don't care about time, so they will never, ever, ever throw out garbage during specific hours. Yeah. And then those people will, like, it doesn't function that way. The trains do not run on time.
Well, there's levels to it, man. There's levels to it. Yeah. Anyway, I digress.
Go ahead. Storm in the horizon.
For over a year now, Anizate has been steadily simmering with unrest like a soup pot over a well-stoked flame. Commoners flock to the squares in droves. The mobs grow bolder, demanding new freedoms and protection under the law. The last straw insurgents commit brazen acts, hoping to overthrow the authorities. The noble gentry insist that every mob be dispersed by force. They are ready to fight for their ancient privilege, sword in hand. In spite of this enormous pressure, Overseer Gaius Tempest remains highly reluctant to allow any bloodshed. But the common people are already too desperate. Even the age-old fear of the nobility's might is barely enough to keep them in check. More and more people are rejecting the lots and converting to the new faith, not to mention other stranger, even more esoteric teachings and beliefs. New secret societies and clandestine gatherings appear every day. Printed pamphlets litter the streets, yet no one is rushing to subdue the citizens or punish the city. For now. Father Leonard has transformed the Temple of the Silver Tree into a new believer stronghold. He is no longer afraid to break the ban on preaching the new faith. His sermons now openly challenge the old faith. It seems the Church of the Twins is unable to recognize its great mistake. The lots must be abandoned as relics of the past. The Twins granted everyone the freedom to choose their own path in this world, and I will not stop until this freedom is recognized throughout the Empire. The next Patriarch of Magra must be chosen by the parish, not the clergy. This is the will of the Twins, and it must be ours as well. Leonard intends to amend the old order of the Church and become Patriarch. His opponents, however, are beset by internal struggle and strife. The Inquisition is fighting a myriad of heresies, more of which appear every day. Not even the highest ranks of the faith are free from suspicion. The new faith, meanwhile, is steadily growing in numbers. People no longer fear being damned to the foot of the pillar for rejecting the divine design. The streets are restless and dangerous. Minds and souls are beset by confusion. The authorities argue and bicker among themselves. Conspiracies plague the city. Time marches on and the change is coming. It cannot be stopped. Can you find a way to guide it in the right direction? The weight of a new age now rests upon your shoulders. The church is in schism.
Everything's becoming highly fussy.
A family matter. For over a year now, Anizate has been slowly simmering with unrest. The feud between the estates, between the old faith and the new, between the law of the empire and noble traditions, tensions are at an all-time high, waiting for the slightest spark to catch fire and burn. Even your family's affairs have been affected by the growing unrest. It is during these troubles times that the future of your family will be decided.
During these troubles times.
Yeah.
Sir.
Father shakes you awake early in the morning. He is excited, clutching a letter bearing the imperial seal of the Tempest dynasty. Wake up, son. Come to the sitting room. A letter has come from Overseer Gaius Tempest. He gingerly breaks the seal and unfolds the missive. To the Honorable Brante family, I, Gaius of the Tempest dynasty, Overseer of the province of Magra, have given due consideration to your petition to have your bloodline noble by the sword. You are expected in 1 week at Castle Aniri as are all petitioners of the sword, where you shall hear my decision firsthand. After finishing the letter, Father turns to you. He looks fatigued. Well, son, it is time for us to be honest with each other about our family. What do you have to say about this? Where do we, the Brante, stand after so many years? What hopes do we have for the future of this family? The past 7 years have been marked by many life-changing events. The rare joys, the frequent fights, the arguments, the attempts at peace, the losses. Sometimes you have managed to change their minds, and sometimes you have not. But your decision has made you realize what matters most to you. The future of the Brante family must be decided here and now. Nope.
Oh, well, just one. We can only preserve the family.
Nope.
Can't be the members of the Overseer's entourage. Damn.
You reluctantly confess to Father what both of you already know. It is clear what Gaius Tempest's decision will be. Your family's hopes of being known by the sword are long gone. You had to maintain your family's reputation and fortune and peace at home. It all proved too much to handle. After expending too much energy resolving the strife within your family, you had little strength left for the rest. With a sigh, Father agrees. You're right, my son. We couldn't weather the storm that came upon us. Who could even hope for a hereditary title after that? I could only imagine how your grandfather must be raging in the hereafter. The Brante patriarch uneasily considered what comes next. But our family is still together, still whole. Pains me to think that there were so many losses that could have been prevented. I must confess, at one point I even feared there might be nothing of us left, but we are still a family. Very well, we will abandon the pursuit of the nobility of the sword for our descendants and tend to the Brante family itself. Nathan peeks into the sitting room. His hair is tousled. Father, Paul, what happened? Nothing, Nathan. Life goes on, that's all. Your weary father embraces his two sons. The last of the embers that were once the letter from Gaius Tempest smolder away in the fireplace. It was almost too much to hear. Or almost too much to bear, but your family ties have been preserved. The Brante family will live on. Grandpa hates us.
Hostility. He's just evil. He's an evil ghost now.
Even late at night, the streets of Anizate echo with chatter. The city cannot sleep. You cannot sleep tonight either.
Echo with grandfather.
Advisor El Faro sent you a surprising note a few hours ago. He is coming. You hear slow, steady footsteps accompanied by the tapping of a cane. There is a knock at the door. Felipe enters the print shop. Sophia quietly follows him and you exchange a nod. The print shop is crowded despite the late hour. Father Fuad, Alida, and the other workers observe Felipe uneasily. Oliver is there too. He acknowledges the Baron with a polite nod. You suddenly realize that Felipe no longer cares at all if the last straw members see his face. You walk into your office with Felipe and Sophia and lock the door. Well then, Brante, I hope your people are ready. It's time to put our plan into action. They're ready. Just give us the word. Excellent, excellent. Soon our song of victory will reach its final note. Our road has been a long one, much longer than we thought, but now the end is in sight. I had a word with the Overseer, and in the end I managed to convince him that El Borne simply cannot maintain order in Anizate. We are just one step away from being granted special authority for the secret chancellor. All we need is an excuse for action. Prepare your people and take to the streets. And when I finally get that...
Just malignant spooks during this plan.
And when I finally get that authority, we will eliminate each and every traitor to the Empire. Egmont, Lennart, El Borne, all of them. But those scum will probably try to flee Anizate. I'll need the people you've recruited throughout Magra, Sophia. There are more than enough of them. I'm glad to hear that. How much time do you need to prepare, Brante? You shift your gaze from Felipe to Sophia. She has been standing behind him all this time, a silent shadow with her head held high, her eyes trained on you. Felipe's cane taps the floor impatiently. He is waiting for an answer. The advisor is right. The day you have worked for all these years has finally come. Are you ready? What will you do now?
What can we do? We can't murder Philippe. Why can't we murder Philippe? That's weird.
Oh, I should have...
Let's see. Sophia's secret plot. What the hell? I guess not. What can we do? Go into hiding again. Ask Egmont. We can't do that. What will we do? Let's see.
Ask Egmont. 2 days, you tell him. 2 days ought to be enough. Very well. You have 2 days. You get your people ready, and I'll get mine ready. I need the names of every leader in your freak show, as well as the streets they'll be marching on. Then, finally, Sir Alfaro leaves. As the door closes behind him, Sophia lights the pipe she's been stuffing with tobacco since his arrival. Smoke billows out of it, concealing her espresso. Well then, Paul, guess this is it. No, you tell her. This is only the beginning, and Sophia knows why. Enough games. You know about her firearms and her ties to Egmont. Sophia takes another drag from the pipe. She slowly exhales a cloud of yellowish smoke. And since Felipe is still none the wiser, I take it you don't want to follow through with this plan of his, right? Right, Sophia has to trust you. You have sided with Egmont in his struggle. You are all in this together. Sophia grins. Sure. Go pay Egmont a visit. My men and my guns are at your disposal. I'll keep Felipe from getting suspicious while you're busy getting ready. Before you can reply, she walks out the door, leaving the acrid smell of smoke behind her. You've been through so much together. Will Sophia never trust you? Not even now? You knock at Egmont's front door for a while. He finally opens it, still bleary-eyed. Brante, what are you doing here? You're certainly welcome, but you have to talk. The Secret Chancellor has found the last straw. You need somewhere to hide until the danger passes. In exchange for Egmont's protection, you will help him with people and connections, everything you have. Sophia's in too. If Mayor wants a revolt, he must begin as soon as possible. Yes, Brante, of course. I'll put you someplace safe. The Secret Chancellor will never find you here. I have no intention of abandoning my struggle. We will take to the streets very soon. I will count on your support. The house in which you find yourself is swarming with people like ants on an anthill. This is one of Mayor Egmont's shelters for the refugees who have flocked to the city. A mat on the cold floor, a wooden bowl, and a bag for your belongings. This is all you have in the world. Hiding out in a flop house like this is not difficult. Your sleep is restless and troubled, bringing neither rest nor respite. Anxiety and worry gnaw at you from within. The city will not sleep, and neither will you.
Felipe doesn't like this.
Yeah, we fucking betrayed him. It has been 2 days since you last saw Felipe. 2 days since that terrible, dreadful night. You have managed to buy yourself a moment of respite. What should you do next? Felipe will never forgive your betrayal. There can be no doubt about that. His men are surely looking for you already. They will find this place in a matter of days. It is time to act or run for your life. What will you do?
What can we do? Okay, side with Mayor Egmont. Let's go. Karl Marx, baby.
Your only chance for freedom is an uprising, a revolt that goes out of control, a revolution that cannot be quashed by the Secret Chancellor, the Prefecture, or even the Legion. If Felipe loses control of the situation, he will have no choice but to flee Magra. And more importantly, the people of Anizate will finally have a chance for real change. If Mayor Egmont manages to coerce the Overseer into making Anizate a free city-state, it will become the first city in which commoners can govern themselves and defend their own rights. It is time to leave your shelter and meet Egmont. Are you ready, Paul? My people are prepared. It is your turn now. Yes, you are ready. You have to begin the revolt as soon as you can, before the Secret Chancellor can act. The element of surprise is your only advantage. You're right. We can't delay any longer. I know Sophia should have never doubted you. Your years of experience make it so easy. Even while hiding from Felipe's agents and fearing betrayal from anyone close to you, you still retain your sway over the underground, enough to command the people to fill the streets and unleash their fury against the nobles in the Empire. Your messages quickly distribute short notes throughout the city. The coded message in every dead drop is short and clear. It is time. You try to get in touch with Sophia, but no one has seen her since the night you decided to betray Felipe. You can only hope she will be there at the right time, armed and ready. The final preparations are over. Tomorrow, Anizate will begin its journey toward freedom. Oh boy! Here we go, Bobby.
Whoa. Whoa.
8 long years have passed. In that time, the people have grown bold, and now the commoners are finally ready to take control. The age of obedience to the nobility ends now. People fill the Chancellery Square, excited, angry, shaking clubs and hatchets over their heads. Mayor Egmont has abandoned his lavish suit for a commoner's plain shirt. He clambers up onto an impromptu podium made of stacked crates.
Like the writers' strike, right? Has abandoned his lavish suit for a commoner's plain shirt. It's like the actor. Oh man, he's such a noble man. He's not a worker.
People of Anizate, the time has come. They humiliate us. They squeeze us dry. They obey no laws. We're not going to take it anymore. We're not just some lowborn rabble. The Empire stands on the shoulders of the common estate. We're in charge. The excited mob echoes his call with passion.
Nothing to lose but your seeds.
We're in charge. We're sneeding. Egmont raises his hand. Raises a hand and points at the windows of the Chancellery behind him. The Empire cannot control us now. We will have the same rights as the noble estate. We will make the new faith legal. We will return the city and the province to the people who live in this land and we who feed it and who toil for it. We're in charge. The crowd's cries shake the windows of the nearby buildings. Their excitement has reached a fevered pitch. More and more people keep flocking to the square from every street. Follow me, people. We're going to occupy the Chancellery. We're going to take over the city and demand the Overseer recognize our rights. Onward to the Chancellery. You hear the clattering of hooves, horsemen riding beneath the Archduke's banner. The cavalry troops of the noble militia appears at the edge of the square. They advance. The shields of the Anizate Legion garrison cover their flanks. The riders grip their spears, ready to strike. The battalion bristles with unsheathed swords. Soldiers surround the square, cutting off all escape routes. Do not be afraid. Stay where you are. They will never dare to attack us. But the old mine owner is wrong. The cavalry moves. The riders crash into the mob. People flee in terror, pushing, shoving, screaming, trying to outrun the hooves and the neighing horses. The noble militia hacks at the rioters without mercy. Sophia! Sophia! Soon, several riders reach Mayor Egmont. He's completely unarmed. They pull him from the podium and drag him away. Egmont is done for, but you cannot dwell on that. You have to take charge with the people before they start to panic. You push your way to the stack of crates. Do not retreat, you shout. Do not surrender. Egmont gave his life for this. We must avenge him. We are strong and in this. We are in charge. Your voice grows louder and louder, every word adding fuel to the flames of rage burning in their hearts. Our fight is far from over. We'll show them all. Those imperial butchers need to be taught a lesson. They cannot contain the fury of the people. The riders are still corralling the mob, cutting down anyone in their way. You see some of them head for you, but the human sea moves to block their advance. Alita throws her slender, fragile body at a rider. His sword cuts her down. Father Fouad grips a rider by the foot and drags him from his horse. Everyone here is ready to die for you today. But despite their bravery, their wooden clubs and stakes are no match for imperial swords and spears. You hear a deafening salvo. Thick white smoke wafts above the square. Another volley. The cavalrymen fall, their gilded armor pierced by bullets. The horses buck, startled by loud noise, throwing their noble riders in terror and trampling those who fall beneath their hooves. You spot people with long muskets and rifles dotting the square. You hear more thunderous gunshots. There is smoke and mayhem everywhere. The riders who survive run for their lives. The Legion soldiers also begin to retreat from the gunfighter. A bearded, bald stranger rushes to your side. Sophia told us to say hi. Quit gawking and get up, buddy. They need you. Sophia's men quickly move through the mob, then duck back down back alleys. The sound of gunfire ceases. There are hundreds of people around you. They look at you and their bloodied hands and those who lie on the cobblestones under their feet, clutching at their stomachs. Mayor Egmont is gone. You are the only one left. Before they can come to their senses, you begin to shout. The nobles will never trample the common folk ever again. We have the weapons. We have the numbers. We are the last straw. The days of the old regime are numbered. The Overseer will hear us whether he wants to or not. We will not be stopped. You scream and the mob screams with you. We're in charge. Storm is about to rock Anizate. Are you ready? Alas.
Everyone hates us. Except for Mayor Egmont died. Wow. He just got BTFO. Let's see. Alright. Why doesn't she love us?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe we didn't.
You see, Paul, you're terrible with women.
Yeah, I know. When you beat the fake cell allegations.
Exactly. Yeah. Oh yeah. Poor Gio. You know, he was the emblem of the true cells. Then he betrayed us. Such malice, such merit.
At last, the day has come which would decide my fate.
Man, it sucks that
as well as that of my family and perhaps the entire empire. The day of the revolt.
The revolt.
Alright, here we go. Chapter 5. The last part.
Guy's Tempest. We'll have to win the revolt, actually. Peaceful or military victory? I mean, I don't think we can do military victory, right? We're like little sneedsters.
Little
We don't have
sneedsters.
anything. We've got our fists and our clubs.
Well, we got guns.
We ain't got no magic, right? Except
we got magic.
Gloria isn't going to write her poems to convince the guards. Oh man, it's gonna be tough.
Hmm.
So look, we got 10 minutes left. Or like what? How much? We got 15 minutes left.
Yep. We can go through like a thing or two.
Yeah, but what about one second? I gotta ask you. This week, are you doing anything?
This week, am I doing anything?
Yeah. Anything cool on the horizon?
Bobby, I am so freaking busy all of the time. I don't even know how to like describe it to you.
Yeah. Lots of work.
Lots of work. OGC stuff, all this stuff.
Yeah, OGC is growing bigger.
I take my LSAT a week from today, so, you know, LSAT? Yeah, Lawyer Scholastic Aptitude Test. Basically the test that decides if law school accepts you and gives you money. Yeah. Here's hoping. LSAT writing's open. I have to basically tackle that at some point. I'll probably either do it later today or tomorrow. Once I figure out what it is. Maybe I'll prepare for it today and do it tomorrow. Who knows? But, yeah. Anyway. Mayor Egmont is dead. You now lead those who followed him. They trust you and hope that you will lead them to freedom. Gaius Tempest must hear you. He will have to make concessions. But you're not the only leader of an incipient rebellion. Sophia and her soldiers are planning to take over Anizate, and they have no interest in negotiating with the Overseer. Harsh and merciless, they believe that freedom can only be taken by force. Their revolution will inevitably destroy the Empire. Aside from them, disgruntled citizens are rising up all over the city. Priests of the new faith and many of the nobles of the mantle are now sided with the commoners. After hearing Egmont's fervent speeches about your impassioned pleas, the masses are now waging a desperate struggle for their rights. It cannot be stopped anymore. Felipe Alfaro is the first to realize it. His scheme has birthed a genuine revolt, and the secret chancellor has lost any chance it once had of putting it down. Fearing for his life, the advisor flees Anizate. The shadow of the imperial executioner that has loomed over you all these years is now gone. You are finally free, and soon your city will be free too.
The common folk trusts in us.
Yes.
Well,
all right.
We're going to have to be treated later, right? To become demonic. Become demonic to eat the Gaius Tempest. We're going to grill him.
Well,
you know, when boomers say, "I just want to grill," they're talking about cannibalism.
So true. Yeah.
Cool. Let's go ahead. Cool. Let's lead our men to victory. The revolt?
For years now, Anizate has been simmering like a cook pot over a slow flame. The powerlessness of the simple folk, unable to change the old order, has gradually given way to rage. Finally, this anger became stronger than their age-old submission to the higher estate and their fear of divine retribution. This rage was the spark that lit the fire of the revolt. All of Anizate's commoners have risen up in rebellion. Workers, artisans, merchants, beggars. They all long to break free of noble tyranny and the perpetual suffering that is their lot. The most daring among them have joined the last straw. The secret society has sent entire squads of trained soldiers out into the streets. They hand out guns and bombs to the people, weapons that give them a chance to wage war on equal footing against noblemen descended from generations of warriors. But the most dangerous weapon the rebels possess is the people's court. The commoners have claimed the right to sentence their enemies to true death. The first nobles executed by the last straw this very night served as proof that these sentences are real. For the first time in the history of the Empire, the divine force of law is in the possession not only of the noblemen, but also of the common estate. Among the rebels are many new believers. They are ready to take up arms to defend their faith and freedom from the lots. They are led by Leonard, the abbot of the temple by the silver tree. Prefect Elborne's allegiance remains unknown. The supreme judge has taken such pains to give the lowly estate more rights. Will he support a revolt that strives to do the same? Anizate has recently been rocked by a series of spontaneous assemblies and protests. The mob demands equal rights for all estates and freedom from the tyranny of the nobles. The authorities must recognize the new faith and grant the commoners the right to choose their own lot. By nightfall, the rebels had disposed of the guards and taken over the city gate. In a matter of minutes, Anizate was under their control. It is the duty of Overseer Gaius Tempest to crush the revolt. The Arcanian nobleman feared for his own position and power, so he was reluctant to punish the rebellious city as discontent slowly grew year by year. But the ensuing uprising has left him no choice. The Overseer has announced a full-scale mobilization.
The denazification of Anizade.
In the morning, the Legion will march toward Anizate under his command, and attempt to return the city to Imperial authority with fire and sword. The expeditious arrival of the Legion is the only hope the nobles have left now that they are locked inside the city. Members of the higher estate, especially the old aristocratic families, fear the coming rampage and strive to keep order on the streets. Meanwhile, the Inquisition, led by Sister Jeanne, is trying to Jeanne is trying to stop the new believers and urging the people to reject the revolt. Both groups are aware that if the rest of the province follows Anizate into rebellion and chaos, the empire itself and the divine order will begin to crumble. After nightfall, the city grows quiet. Its courtyards and squares are empty. In mansions and palaces, hasty negotiations are held and schemes are concocted. In dark cellars, the revolt is being prepared and armed units are gathering. Parishes are getting ready to defend the temples of the new faith against the Inquisition. All citizens, rich and poor, common and noble, are arming themselves, some with ancestral swords, others with cleavers. Anizate is preparing, waiting for the dawn. As the Legion arrives for the assault, the rebels assemble into a militia and get ready to fend off the Imperial army, but there is little unity in their camp. Their leaders are already mired in a power struggle. There are also defenders of the Imperial order within the city walls, members of the old aristocracy, soldiers of the Inquisition, priests of the old faith, commoners unwilling to defy the law and the twins' design. These people too refuse to lay down their arms. The first rays of the rising sun light up the horizon. This day will go down in history. Your entire life has led you to this moment. Step by step, you have made yourself the man you are now. Your actions today could alter the course of history, but are you ready to go the distance? What will have become of you by the time the sun sets? Alrighty, Bobby. Couple of things we can do. The Legion is defeated. Peace with the Overseer. The city is defended. The revolt is defeated. And we...
Well, it would have been better if they'd said the revolt is put down. Defeated. You don't defeat a revolt. You put it down, right?
Yeah, the surrender of the revolt.
Then again, maybe you put down an uprising. You defeat a revolt.
The Anizate massacre. Oh boy. Dark times. True death.
I like Dark Times. Dark Times sounds good.
I do not like dark times, Bobby.
Well, it ends in true death anyway, right? Because this is the final chapter of our lives. So, the family has perished. Oh, that's horrible. Please stop looking at those. Let's just continue. Yeah, let's not spoil ourselves.
Yeah. Well.
Oh, I think we'll continue next time.
Yeah, I think this is as good a time to stop as any.
Oh, I'm happy that we did this together, right?
I guess we will decide what our family's fate is next week.
Yeah. We'll see if we'll go through the revolt next week, and then after that, it'll be planning me and you.
Well, next week, actually, we can't do it next week unless we do it Friday morning because I'll be on vacation next week. But we can do it Friday morning next week if that's good with you.
Okay, well, I'll tell you next week.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, thank you very much, you all. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Mr. Bobby, for joining me. Hope you all have a very good afternoon, very good day.
Yeah, you